What's going on, everybody? It's EricRayweather back here, and in today's video we have a special topic to talk about, as last night Madden creative director Rex Dickson officially announced he is resigning from the position. He is mutually parting ways with EA, and he has actually joined Backflip Studios. So this is definitely something I want to speak about. A lot of other YouTubers have already hopped on it and have said their piece, but I definitely want to say mine as well. What's the real reason he left? What does this mean for Madden going forward? Because I've definitely seen, both in YouTube comments of other people's videos, on Reddit, on Twitter, I've seen a lot of people that are kind of looking at it the wrong way, or are kind of a little misguided in what's going on. So I want to speak my piece on it, at least, of what I know about the situation. So obviously, as many of you know, Rex came onto the scene about 6 years ago, and love him or hate him, he has probably been the best creative director for Madden, at least in the time span that I've played it, which dates, played it seriously at least, which dates back to Madden 07. A lot of people are happy that he's leaving. They're saying, yes, Madden will finally be good again, but it might improve. Madden's always gonna try to improve. That's the goal. But I think Rex did a lot of great stuff in his time here that just completely gets overlooked, and it would take a very long video for me to talk about all the things and improvements that he made. Sure, he had some misses too and some missteps. But that's any game, especially any game that comes out every year is going to suffer problems. It doesn't matter how great you think the game is at launch. When you're producing a game every year, every sports title pretty much goes through this. A lot of people are saying, like, yes, Rex is out. Now if we can just get EA out of here and, get 2K in here. I mean, you go search NBA 2K on YouTube and see all of their hardcore fans that are complaining for the last few years how bad the game is, or saying that they jumped over to NBA Live this year because they had a better time on that game. MLB The Show community, same thing. They're complaining, why are you updating their Ultimate Team mode? I forget what it's called, but why are you updating this mode when there's so many gameplay issues that need to be fixed? Every sports game goes through this, so that's not something you can just look at Rex and say, oh, it's Rex's fault. But the main reason that Rex left, because I think a lot of people are saying, like, oh yeah, right, they really mutually parted ways. No, they got rid of Rex because the game is bad. No, they didn't get rid of Rex. Rex wanted to leave. He had a bigger vision for Madden than the higher ups maybe had for it at times. He wants Madden to be great. He is all about the community. Like, a lot of people that try to knock Rex and, say that he sucks at his job, they've never actually met Rex. They've never actually sat down with Rex, seen his passion firsthand. They just talk, and I mean, it's understandable. That's what people do on the internet. They talk, but Rex cares more about the community and about the game and the gameplay than people give him credit for. There's only so much he can do in a year cycle to get a new game out, and the people above him, those are the people that care more about stuff like long shot, or those type of game modes. Whereas Rex is more like, if Rex could just solely be like, we're gonna spend this whole year and have the best gameplay possible, he would do that. But there's only so much that he's allowed to do, because there are still people over his head. There's there's shareholders and things like that that just go, their say goes far beyond what Rex wants. Rex can only do what Rex is allowed to do within reason. So that's really why he left, because he wants he has a bigger vision for Madden than the guys that are making all the money have for Madden. Of course, it was a mutual parting. There's no bad blood, but Rex did what he could do. He did all he could do with Madden, and it's time for a new person to come in and let's see what happens. But for people that think Rex didn't have the community's best interest at heart, I mean, how many creative directors for games, or just even game developers in general, do you see that literally immerse themselves in the community like Rex did? I mean, I'm not saying there's no other developers or lead designers that have done that, but I personally haven't seen it myself. Rex will literally go sit in the Twitch chat with you and talk with you. And if you've ever watched Rex actually stream the game himself, he'll be streaming the game, something crazy will happen in the gameplay, and he'll literally stop the game and be like, man, this is terrible, write it down and say, we gotta take a look at this and fix it. Like, as he's playing his own game and something stupid happens, like, he never had that ego to the point where he wouldn't sit there and take the criticism and say that, oh, yes, this is wrong, we need to fix that. But of course, he still defended his game too. And some people say, oh, well, you know, sometimes when we complained about so-and-so, you know, he would have an answer for it, even though it was bad. Well, he still has to defend his game too. He's not just going to trash his own game. But he'll be the first one to tell you when they messed up with something like target passing. That was a big miss. Could have been a great feature, big miss. And if you listen to any of the podcasts he's done lately, he will tell you that, like, yeah, it was a miss. It was a waste of resources, you know. He wishes, you know, he wouldn't have done it. But the thing is, you can't hold the misses against somebody when, you know, the same person came up with hits as well. The same person that made cover 2 defense relevant when cover 2 defense was never relevant. The guy that made, you know, that gave us different zones that react differently instead of just having the basic zones. The guy that gave us the catch system with aggressive catch, rack catch, possession catch. Those are all very huge game changers for Madden. So you can't knock him for like stuff like target passing and then praise him for the other stuff too, because all of those ideas come out of the same, you know, thought process, but you're not going to hit on everything. And you know, some people will say, well, there was way more of a skill gap before Rex, and I would probably agree with that as well. But that is a decision that even is probably above Rex's head. It's in EA's best interest to make the game as competitive as it can be for everybody, to where people aren't jumping online, getting blown out, and saying, well, I don't want to play this game anymore because I can't win. I would assume that that's something that's above Rex's head. But, I mean, you can still argue a lot of the same best players are still the same best players every year. So there is still a skill gap. Maybe just there's less of a skill gap as far as casual players jumping online and, you know, actually understanding what they need to do to win. Whereas back in the day, a lot of casual players would jump online and maybe just ask Madden and play a little more random. But that's not even necessarily Rex's fault. It's a different information age. We have YouTube now. Before YouTube, there was websites, so there was always ways for people to get information. And the more we come up each year, more people are getting information that years past maybe was a little bit harder to get. So that's not all Rex's fault. Yes, you know, he added things in like nano detection, which a lot of people were against, but you know, overall, it's a good move for the game to say, well, you're not going to be able to get the same nano blitz in every single time. I mean, you know, you can nitpick things like that, but any decision that Rex made was for the good of the game. Rex never really has his own interests at heart. He has the community's interests at heart. He gets on Twitter. He talks with people. He takes the feedback. He really became like the face of Madden. You don't really have many developers or game designers or lead designers that become the face of the game, you know, to the point where anytime some fluke popped off, people would yell Rex. Like everything was Rex's fault. He was the face of Madden. He took that position, you know, in stride, full force. He never ran from it. He stood up to all the problems, all the good and all the bad. He stood up right in front of it and took it. And most people would not do that. And I honestly don't believe we're going to get that from EA moving forward because of the way Rex was treated. I feel that that's, you know, he didn't say this directly, but I feel like this is one of the reasons he left. I mean, you're talking about a guy that was getting death threats and, you know, people talking about his family over a video game, over because you got in a video game and you fumbled too many times or you dropped an interception. I get it. You're frustrated that the game isn't as good as you want it to be, and that's understandable, but you're going at the guy that the one guy at EA that really had the community's back, that would jump out there and jump in the crowd with the community and take all of it head on, and you're going to send the man death threats because you lost the game. I believe that's one of the reasons he's leaving. I don't think Rex or anybody else at EA is going to ever jump in the front and try to be the face of Madden like that ever again because of just what that's just too much that you have to deal with from people online. They're just going to, you know, talk crazy about you, even, you know, in the midst of the fact that you really care that much about the game and you're trying to put the community first, and they'll still like spit in your face. So, you know, I hope you appreciated that while it was here, because you're not going to get that type of interaction again. Of course, you're still going to have guys like Kraylo out there that's going to take feedback and things of that nature, and game changers and, you know, people like that, but you're not going to get the head honcho out there, you know, in the field with the community anymore. I don't think you're going to see that, and it's something that wasn't appreciated, and it's one of those situations where you don't know what you have until it's gone, and I think most people will realize that. Now, as far as what this means for Madden going forward, Madden 19 is still Rex's game. His fingerprints are still on that game. Moving forward, I know that Clint Odenberg is going to be like the main gameplay guy, and again, he's another guy. If you've never sat down with him, talked with him, actually watch what they do, he has just as much passion for the game, if not more than Rex. Okay, he's Rex's guy. He came up under Rex, so he has a very similar vision, that Rex does. Now, will he put his own spin and twist on things and have differences? Of course, because he's a different person. But some people might look at that as a bad thing, like, oh, well, he came up under Rex, so he's just like Rex. Well, you want people like Rex because not that many people care as much as Rex does, but what people need to understand is, even in that position, there's still a lot of people above your head that limit some of the things you can do. This is why people part ways all the time in the world, whether it be the music business, the fashion industry, the movie business, any business in life. How many times have you seen people part ways just because of creative differences? It happens. There's only so much they can do, but the passion is, I think, what needs to be recognized, because there hasn't really been more people more passionate about Madden than Rex, for the good and for the bad. Where he won and where he failed, it didn't matter. His passion was still the same, and that's what guys like Clint are too. The passion is there. They want to make the game great. They're about gameplay first and community first, whether you want to believe it or not. You can choose to believe what you want, but I've seen it firsthand. So that's my take on it. But yeah, going forward, I don't think we're necessarily in bad shape, because like I said, Clint Odenberg is a very, very good guy over there, and he cares about the community just as much as Rex did. I don't think that those guys, like I said, are going to put themselves in the forefront right, like Rex did, because as we've seen over the past few years, nothing really good came out of it. It just creates more stress and negativity because they try to do the right thing, but people just kind of spit on them. So I don't think that you're going to see that kind of interaction anymore, so I hope you enjoyed it while you had it. But yeah, I don't think Madden's in a bad shape. I think it's gonna continue to try its best to improve going forward, and I think wherever Rex goes, if he brings that same passion anywhere else that he brought to Madden, he's gonna do well wherever he goes as well. So definitely would like to take this time. Doubt Rex is gonna watch this, but if you did, thank you for everything that you did. I understand your passion, even where you missed, I still understood. So thank you for all that you did for Madden. I feel like you improved Madden a lot more than the guys that came before you. So once again, thank you. And yeah, leave your comments below, good or bad, negative, whatever feedback you have. I like to see what you guys have to say as well. And as always, I will see you guys on the next one.